Welcome to the Developing Positive Work Habits workshop. This workshop is designed to help employees keep their jobs by making them aware of the positive behaviors that employers are looking for in every employee. It will also help you as an employee be successful at your job by offering you ways to strengthen your existing work habits. The objectives for our class today are to understand what employers expect in the workplace and to understand what's in it for you when you meet those expectations. We'll also define some specific positive work habits and discuss some ways to improve and strengthen existing work habits. As we talk today, we are going to examine certain work habits that employers have specific expectations about. Things like attendance, productivity, and appearance. In the workplace, employers expect you to demonstrate self-control. You can demonstrate self-control simply by following the rules of conduct in your workplace. Self-control is demonstrated by what you do, not what your intentions were. What does your employer expect of you in your workplace? Again, employers expect self-control and want you to perform at your best for the entire time you're working for them. Now, it is easily possible, with the right motivation, to meet their expectations. But those motivators can't be all external. Research shows that the best motivators are internal. There is no amount of money, benefits, or time off that an employer can offer that will actually change your behavior. That change has to come from within and be driven by those things that internally motivate you. For instance, you may be motivated by the desire to provide an income for your family, or you may be motivated by the desire to be the best at whatever you do. Think about some things that motivate you to do your best at work. Now, we might say some things today that you don't agree with because they're new or different or don't seem fair, but the truth is, whether you agree or disagree, these things work. Employers in almost every business have expectations of how employees will behave at work. They want employees who come to work on time, dressed appropriately, with a positive attitude, ready to be productive. The upside is, once you know that and you display the positive work habits your employer expects, you will find yourself meeting employer expectations and experiencing benefits and rewards in your professional life. So what are some of the benefits that result from displaying positive work habits and meeting employer expectations? Or in other words, what's in it for you? Well, if you do display the positive work habits we're going to talk about today, you will find that you will experience a number of these benefits. The first one is a feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment. How good does it feel at the end of the day to look back at your work and be proud of what you've accomplished? You're able to go home and know that you gave 100% and you can relax and leave work stress behind you. That is a good feeling. Another benefit to you is job security. Employees who show up on time every day, ready to work, tend to continue to be allowed to show up every day, ready to work. When you have strong positive work habits, you don't need to focus on getting fired or losing your job because you know you're an asset to your employer. Being in that position is also a very good feeling. When you have strong positive work habits, others notice and appreciate you. You develop better relationships with your coworkers and managers. Having good positive relationships with your coworkers is beneficial because it makes work more enjoyable to have friends around you. A good working relationship with your coworkers makes accomplishing tasks easier because communication channels are open between departments or stations. Maybe the most obvious benefit is that when you display positive work habits, you place yourself in line for future rewards, things such as better pay and promotions. When employers have an employee who has shown that they're dedicated to the company's success, they tend to reward those employees through raises and promotions. Finally, when the day comes that you move to another job, your positive work history means you can get a good employer reference. How wonderful is it to know that you are such a valuable employee that even though you may no longer be working for them, your old employer is willing to give you a good reference so that you can succeed in your future career. The 6 positive work habits we'll be talking about today are self-discipline, attitude, customer service, attendance, appearance, and productivity. These 6 work habits are the ones that the majority of employers have identified as most important to developing strong employees, as well as being vital to their business success. The first positive work habit we're going to talk about is self-discipline. Now, self-discipline connects right back to employers' expectations of self-control in the workplace. For instance, take a look at this picture. Does anything stand out to you? Here we have a gentleman who works for a specific brand, drinking the competitor's brand in uniform and in the company-provided vehicle. Now, is it wrong for him to enjoy the competitor's brand? No, not when he's home, away from work, but on the job, the expectation is that he will display self-control or self-discipline and not drink the competing product. Self-discipline includes being loyal to your employer. That means that you follow the policies and philosophies of the company you work for. Pepsi and Coke both have a strict policy against drinking the competition while in uniform. It's important to both companies that the men and women who work for them show loyalty when on the job because every employee is a customer service representative. Even a little thing like drinking a Coke can damage their image. Loyalty includes more than just following policies. It also includes believing in the philosophy of the company you work for. That means that you demonstrate the behaviors that are in line with the company's vision. For example, you put the customer first, or you treat everyone with dignity and respect. Loyal employees also avoid negative talk with other employees and customers about the company. In fact, they try to avoid any act that could be destructive to the company in any way. These are some simple ways employees demonstrate loyalty. Another part of self-discipline is professionalism. Being a professional means you act in such a way that coworkers, customers, and managers perceive you as a mature adult. This doesn't mean that you can't laugh or have fun at work, but it does mean that you avoid things like swearing, horseplay, inappropriate jokes, or gossip. Be responsible for yourself. Whatever someone else may do or say does not need to affect the way that you act while you're working. Self-discipline means you take responsibility for getting your job done and doing it to the best of your ability. By doing this, you set yourself apart as someone who is responsible and hardworking, and employers take notice of this. Lastly, stay committed to your employer. A committed employee is one who works to make the business successful. Even if you know that your job is temporary or you only plan to work at a job for a few months, you should act like every day is an opportunity to expand your skills, grow in your knowledge, and do your best on the job. Not only will this pay off in a good reference, but it could result in getting hired full-time or opening up a position that you would want to work long-term. Well, that covers the topic of self-discipline in the workplace. Employers have the expectation that while you're working, you will follow their policies and act professionally. Again, be responsible for yourself and your own actions. Now, let's move on to discuss attitude. Now, before we define and discuss what employers are looking for in someone who displays a positive attitude, let's discuss how you define positive attitude. Try to think of one person you've worked with or gone to school with that always had a positive attitude toward their co-workers or schoolmates and toward work or schoolwork itself. How did you feel being around them? Even if you found it annoying at times, did you find that it had a tendency to rub off on you? Well, listed here are the 4 most common external positive attitude indicators, plus some advice for how to develop or enhance your own positive attitude. Number 1, people with a positive attitude tend to say things optimistically, or they look at the glass half full. When they talk with others, they avoid negative adverbs like can't, won't, and don't, and instead focus on what they can do. Their attitude is one of hope, and they do not easily get frustrated with barriers or roadblocks. Optimists tend to focus their energies on finding options to a problem rather than giving up or quitting. For instance, they may say, well, that didn't work, let's try this instead. Another positive attitude behavior is being empathetic or caring about others' feelings. People who are empathetic take the time to actively listen to other people and not make judgments or simply give opinions. Instead, they have sympathy for problems and genuine happiness for the success of others. They also tend to be helpful and focus their energy on solving problems. For example, they may say, I'm really sorry that happened. Let me see what we can do to fix that. Maybe the biggest indicator of a positive attitude is the smile. Psychologists have found that if you smile and make happy facial expressions, your brain actually triggers a response and you start to be happy. As an added bonus, when you smile at people, they tend to smile back, so your happy feeling is reinforced externally. Finally, people who possess a positive attitude tend to be natural cheerleaders, so they compliment others and they encourage their success. Sincere compliments reinforce positive behavior and help people raise self-esteem and confidence in others. People who compliment others tend to look at what others do well and verbally acknowledge those accomplishments. They may say things like, "You really have a natural ability for making customers feel welcome." For anyone who feels like maybe they lack the ability to have a positive attitude, there is hope. Experts in the field of psychology have found that if you pretend to have a positive attitude, you will start to get one. This principle is sometimes called fake it till you make it. It's like the placebo effect. In research experiments, doctors give half of the patients sugar pills and half of the patients the real medication. And the amazing thing they've found many times is that the sugar pills work just as well. So choose to enjoy work. Wake up and tell yourself, today is going to be a good day. I will be a positive person. By harnessing the power of the mind and making a conscious decision to be positive, you and the people around you will believe you have a positive attitude. Now that we've finished describing positive attitude, let's explore customer service and see how having a positive attitude ties into this important element of positive work habits. We should probably start by answering the question at the top of the slide here. Why good customer service? According to Good Service is Good Business, a strategy book about providing customer service, you might be shocked to learn that 96% of customers who are dissatisfied with service never bother to complain. But that doesn't mean they forget about the experience. Instead, when one customer is dissatisfied with service, they tend to tell about a minimum of 15 other people, and those people will each tell up to 7 more people. The problem with this statistic is that with social media and networking like Facebook today, the number is likely significantly higher. This means that for businesses, the stakes are significantly higher. With one bad review on Google or Yahoo, your employer or business could be losing hundreds of customers and never even know it. Without customers, businesses can't afford to stay open, and certainly can't afford to keep you on the payroll. When a business loses a customer, it costs 5 times more to gain a new customer than it would have cost to just keep one. This is why it is so important to have good customer service every time we interact with a customer. How exactly are customers lost? They're lost for a number of reasons, but the top 4 reasons why they're lost are listed here. 3% of customers move away. 5% may make a new friend in the business and decide to take their business there instead. About 9% are lost to a competitor's advertisement or their atmosphere or product. But finally, the largest percentage of customers are lost due to poor customer interaction, about 68% in fact. Now, these customers simply go elsewhere because they were treated poorly, or they interacted with an employee or manager negatively. Now, I'm sure if we think about our own experiences with customer service, most of us could identify a time when a business lost us or someone we know as a customer because they treated them poorly. Since 96% of customers never complain, businesses can lose a customer and continue to lose customers and never even know that they have a problem. This is why it's so important when working with customers that we as employees do our best to provide the highest quality service possible. How do we make sure then that we have great customer service every time? Well, the 3 main keys to delivering exceptional customer service are: number 1, be kind; number 2, be thoughtful; and number 3, be friendly. If you remember anything about customer service, remember those 3 principles and you will never go wrong. More specifically, customers expect friendliness from you. A warm smile and sincere greeting go a long way in customer service. They also expect to be heard. Let the customer guide the direction of the interaction and don't take over. Be thoughtful and avoid making any assumptions before they're able to express their needs. Actively listen to complaints and questions. Try not to interrupt them, but attempt to hear the underlying issue, not the words or the tone being used. Repeat the issue back in your own words to make sure that your understanding is correct. They also want you to be understanding and empathetic to their situation and needs. Remember that 96% of customers don't even complain when something is wrong. So be kind and acknowledge the person's feelings. Say, "I know how frustrating it is," when, for example, your food is cold or you're overcharged for a product. Whenever it's appropriate, be willing to apologize. Customers want fairness. They want to be treated with respect and be given the same information and level of service that you gave the customer before them. This next one is a big one for many customers, and that is they want options and alternatives. Once you're sure you've heard them, explain to the customer the options that they have available and let them choose what's best for them. Confirm the action that you'll take to solve any problems. For example, you could say, "I'll get my manager to correct that oversight," or "I'll make you a new one right away." Finally, it's imperative that you also give customers the correct information. Always provide accurate information and don't make something up on the spot that could prove to be false later. If you're confused or don't know something, ask your supervisor. One of the most difficult customer interactions to deal with is when a customer becomes emotional or assertive and angry with the service that you're giving or even with you personally. In that situation, it's best to be prepared and know exactly what to do. Remember, it all comes back to meeting their needs. you need to respond assertively and not let your personal feelings dictate your response. Actively listen to the complaint. Try hard not to interrupt them, and attempt to hear the underlying frustration, not just the words or the tone being used. Repeat the complaint back in your own words, showing that you understand them. Obtain acknowledgement that your understanding is correct. If appropriate, be willing to apologize. But be cautious about offering an apology that could indicate you did something that you did not do. Acknowledge the person's feelings. You could say something like, "I know how frustrating it is when your food is cold or you're overcharged for a product." Explain the action you will take to solve the problem. "I will get my manager to correct that oversight," or "I will make you a new one right away." Finally, sincerely thank them for their business and allowing you to fix whatever their complaint may be. Remember, it's better to know about a problem than to allow the problem to continue and lose customers. Okay, we're about halfway through. Remember that the keys to good customer service are to be kind, be thoughtful, and be friendly.